This tutorial will address the last three kerning exercises for the Part B number 2 assignment for project number 2, the word mark. This is part of Part A, which is iteration number 2. First of all, we want to set out a grid line. Set out the grid in a particular orientation. So we want to go to Preferences. In CS6, Preferences are under Illustrator. I believe Preferences are under File in your version of Illustrator. Anyhow, you want to go into Preferences. Under Guides and Grids, you want to set your guideline every 20 millimeters with subdivisions at 5. Hit OK. To be able to turn on your grid, and forgive me, it's down here under View. It's below the recording area. I'll turn on Show Grid. Also, there's the shortcut on your keyboard, which is Command quotation mark. The quotations, both the double quotation, single quotation, which is next to the return button. If you hold down the command in that, you can turn that on and off as I'm doing right here. So I've already aligned my first letter form, the end of its stroke, right on this this part of the grid. And so what I'm looking at doing is counting the subdivisions. These are subdivisions, so there's 5 subdivisions and a grid. Major grid line here with five subdivisions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy this. I can simply copy, and then I did a shortcut on my keyboard, but I can obviously come up here and go copy, and then I can go edit paste, which it comes down like this. I prefer selecting, and again I'm using my my select tool, and then what I do is hold down a shortcut, which is Shift Option, and I click on this, and you can see the 2 arrows, one black, one white. That means that it's sort of fixed in a as I move it, it stays fixed in a horizontal position. I can also I'll hit Escape, and I'll Command Z. I'll do this again. I can also hold this down and go to the right, and it's fixed in a horizontal position. I'm going to hit Escape, Command Z. I'll do this again, and I'm going to go down, holding down again the Shift and the Option key at the same time. And so what I get is I duplicate, and it's directly below here. So the third kerning exercise is looking at creating a one subdivision spacing between the letter forms. So what I'm going to do is come in here, and basically I can see that the end of my J is actually falling somewhat into this block, this subdivision unit here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my A. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and I'm going to slide this in, and I'm going to leave that's shorter than one subdivision, so I'm going to come over a little bit, and I'm going to just sort of it's approximation, and that is basically that equals then 1 subdivision, as the number 3 version indicates. And then of course I will do that with the then P. Now if you notice here, it's a little hard to see the grid because of the black fill on this. So what makes this easier is if you select this and then go up to your opacity and go 20, and now we can see the grid behind there, and we can actually really do much better in terms of our approximation of spacing. So I'm going to be looking roughly around this area here. I'm going to be Command Z. I just want to grab my P, hold down the Shift key. That holds it justified in one direction. And so I'm just going to come here, and that equals to about one subdivision. Let's go ahead and do my A, select the A, and I will look at this space here, and I will come into this subdivision here, subtracting a bit off this unit, which then would basically equal one unit. I've duplicated this, excuse me, I didn't mean to do that. And I'm going to be doing this now for the n as well. And I will bring this in. I'm going to be looking at about here to see about how far to come in to sort of equal this space to this space here to make one subdivision unit. And I will look at that. And obviously this needs to come in a little bit here to get the kerning more balanced between the kerning here, the kerning here. There's a little bit too much space here. This is maybe a little bit too tight in here. Anyhow, again, you're practicing the way it's being perceived to you. Anyhow, and finding the right balance between working within that one subdivision unit with what it is that your eye sees. All right, so that's step number 3. Let's do that's the third exercise. Let's do the fourth exercise, which we're looking at subdivision of 4. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is just take this one. Of course, I'm going to duplicate. I would go ahead and duplicate this because, again, I want this as a separate word mark. But for the sake of just convenience and speed for quickly showing you this, and I'm just going to do this with a couple letter forms. I'm just going to show you what I mean by 4. So again, 1, 2, 3. I'm just counting my subdivisions here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we want to subtract a little bit in here. So I'm going to grab my A, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to come in here and subtract. So 1, 2, 3. Excuse me, I apologize, that's incorrect here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. This is my fourth one, and that means I'm going to just use a little bit of this. I'm going to subtract into here to make up for this missing amount. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and this little bit makes up the bit here that I'm missing. Again, I'm going to then take my other letter forms, and I'm going to then make the 4, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to leave a little bit there. Again, approximation. I'll do that. I'll do that for the other 2 letters, and then I will look at this visually. I'll hide my grid just so I can see if I can see this a little bit better, and then I will use my eye to guide a good optical balance between all 5 of these letters. Okay, and again, I would do that. I would do 4 for the A and 4 for the N. All right, now let's talk about the fifth one, the fifth kerning exercise, which is basically looking at a 10 interval, subdivision interval. So again, I'm just going to count out the 10, and I will count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's just use the A here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I'm going to add a little bit more on this edge, and that gives me 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I'm adding a little bit more because I'm losing that there, and I'm going to then do that for my P, my A, and my N. I'll do that for the P very quickly for you. And I will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and add a little bit extra. Excuse me, add a little bit extra there. And there's 10 right there. So that again is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excuse me, and adding a little bit more. And then I would do that for the remaining letters and spread those out. And that would be for number 5. And again, I would put them in descending order. In terms of printing, again, what I would just do is go up to File, I would go to Document Setup, and then I would edit artboards. I'm going to zoom out, and I would just expand my artboard to this, to basically fit all of my letter forms. And then when you go to print, still go ahead and print at A3, and it'll just make the letters smaller. Sorry, it'll make the word marks smaller on the page, but that's okay. Again, you'll want to print on A3, and when you go to print, the print option will just allow you to scale to fit, basically. The artwork will scale to fit to A3 and do A3 landscape. All right, that concludes the second tutorial, part 2 to this assignment. Thank you.